So you decided to play GREATAXE, aka Escanor, weapon of choice.
全ての種族の頂点に立つものでもある。私が7つの大罪、傲慢の罪、ライオン神、エスカノール様だ。これがあなたの本気ですか？では私の番ですね。ゲームオーバーです。
This weapon hits like a truck, mobile, and hits pretty fast for the light attacks compared to the other two-handers like the Warhammer, while hitting pretty good numbers, pretty close to even hammer. The video that I made earlier. It's 100% slash damage, 120%. With the heavy and then charged and heavy deals 160. I have a feeling a lot of people chose this weapon. It seems pretty popular. I see a lot of people do use it. Seems too good for DPS while staying mobile. Also has CC off one of the skills. So I'll be going over my attributes first. So for my attributes, I would like to keep it 1 to 3 for the, between strength and constitution. So the reason why we want more constitution is because we need to survive in battle. It already does good damage already, so you don't need to go that crazy in strength until you get to max level. Then you can min-max better, especially with the gear that you have. Now for the skills, I'm going to be hugging Reaper skill tree most of the time. Skills that I like to use are first, I picked up Reap. This is really helpful, especially for PvP and PvE, if you need to pull stuff to you. It gives you more damage from your light attacks. You're mainly going to be using light attacks. So I picked this up, very good passive. Once I get more points, I'm going to be putting it into Death's Embrace for the armor penetration below 50. Makes it easier to execute that target. Critical gains. Every time you do a crit, which is really nice. You'll heal yourself, so more sustained, the better. Charge, I'm still on the fence whether I want to use charge or execute, but right now, especially for 11, I use charge because I want to travel around the map easier. Restoration, there's going to be a lot of people, especially in PvP, blocking. So you want to get as much damage as possible if they do block. Hunger, every time you use Reap, you gain 30% more damage. The more damage, always good. The increased range on the Collector, good for people that are also running away. This is why I chose this one. Critical condition, it was another skill I will pick up. Since this synergizes well with this skill, we'll heal more if they're at below 30%. 15% more crit. Critical damage increased by 10%. We're going to pick up Feed. If they're below 30%, sorry, 30%, you'll gain more healing. So sustain always good. Get an attraction. You'll do a combo spin move after you do your Reap, so more damage. And then Bloodlust, probably my favorite part of the Reaper tree, which increases your movement speed by 30% and does 15% more damage if there's a foe within 15 meters. You're always going to be in melee range, so I recommend doing this. I would not pick up this skill, since this skill doesn't synergize with the left side. I will be switching it to Mauler's Resolve. You want to, the more stamina you have, the better you can dodge from attacks. But you will for sure pick up this skill, Enduring Strike. I'm not going to pick up this skill. I don't really like this skill. I'll explain that later. This one will give you grit, so you won't get staggered. Gravity Well pulls foes to the center. So this is going to be one of your moves that will help you engage into the target. A good CC, especially amongst large mobs. And then Crowded Vortex increases the burst damage for each foe in the vortex. So if there's more people, the more damage. I would pick up this if you're playing with other players, Unyielding, since it gives Fortify to everyone else, which reduces damage. Very good for team play. Now I'm still messing with this build, still testing it out. I haven't tested it out as much as my Warhammer, but so far from my experience, I think the ones I just mentioned are skills that I recommend you picking up. For the gameplay of this build is lots of light attacks, staying aggro, staying mobile, with the movement speed from Bloodlust, and charging in with Charge. You already feel you already have a lot of movement speed. I recommend taking off Charge and going for Execute instead for even more damage, since you can do 300% if they're below 50% health. I think this does a lot of damage. And then picking up 2 passives, which gives you Grit during Execute, since they won't interrupt you. And then Executioner. Critical hits 100% of the time versus foes below 30% to nearly guarantee that kill. Now the other 2 skills, and why I didn't pick Mauler. Maelstrom. This one, it pulls them towards you, but I preferred Reap over this skill because of the animation from the spin. And then Whirlwind. I think this is only good when there's a lot of enemies, and the fact that it can't backstab for the crit, because you do get 100% crit from the backstab, I would not recommend you doing this. And then if you compare Martyr's Fury, I think it's a very good passive, but the passives from this tree is not something I would like to have. I think if you're going for a more crowd control type of build, I recommend going Mauler. I think Mauler is for people who like CCing their enemies. But the fact that I want more damage and sustain, I went to the Reaper tree instead. And then if you compare Mauler's Fury versus Bloodlust, you don't have the movement speed, but you can gain up to 30% increased attack. So it's not a bad passive if you want to go for the right side. So TLDR, Reaper for sustain and damage, Mauler for CC and defense. Defense buffs comes from stuff like crowd protection. While holding the GREATAXE, you gain absorption and gravity for more CC, which is pretty good. Anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more weapon guides, comment. I also stream on Twitch at Jester3. See you guys in the next video. Peace.